major issues women face in Bangladesh is similar to major issues women face globally. Patriarchy and patriarchal forms of oppression, using patriarchy to control and oppress women.
The international community right now seems to think there's peace in Burma just because there are some tentative ceasefires between the armed groups. And then they wonder why refugees can't go home. They wonder why the human rights issues don't seem to go away. And the basic fact is it's because none of the issues that led to the conflict have been resolved. The civilian voices haven't been heard enough. And so the problems persist.
And particularly in kitchen state, it produced the best jig in the world. And this best jig, they do the mining, where education, economic, and any development, no, nothing they have done for the civilians. And I often justify myself that in my life, I don't know if I receive any free thing from our government. I feel like I have no government.
Because when you look at Africa at the moment, the wealthiest 10% will be on $5.83 a day income. The middle 40% will be on $1.65. So those are the ones you're trying to get to $2. And the remaining 50% are on 65 cents. If you wanted a more unequal society, I don't think you needed any better example.
Well, the inequality gap really just keeps growing. Even more than earlier in human history, we see that power and wealth are becoming increasingly concentrated into a handful of really privileged people around the world.
In that we tend to assume that people do not necessarily understand why they're living the lives they live and what the causes are, but they do. Only that we never bother to ask them.
NGOs have become, unfortunately, very, very mainstream development. And as I was saying, the funding sector is such that they have to all bid for projects. That's very, very sad.
Some call it social bribery. Government continues with business as usual, and we become the instrument for keeping people quiet.
Donc, on fait la nouvelle vision de la coopération qui est basée sur le dictat de l'économie, sur le dictat plus que de l'économie. C'est des finances. Et on va contre le mur.
And we think people are poor because there is fundamental injustice in the countries that people live in and between the different countries around the world. And that it's that injustice and marginalization and discrimination that keeps people in poverty.
I think Enterprise approach in many ways is wrapped up in its name, among equals.
And so if you really want to address poverty and get people out of poverty, you have to address those root causes, and you've got to look at the systems that keep people poor.
Because first and foremost, we think of ourselves as a Canadian activist organization. We're a social justice group based here in Canada with one office. And so we can't ignore the context, the national context in which we work.
On travaille avec 120 organisations à travers le monde, donc en Afrique, en Asie, en Amérique latine, mais ici aussi au Canada.
And they may be working on a whole range of different issues. They may be working on food sovereignty, on health, on migration, on peace and democracy issues. But the main thing that brings us all together is the values that we share and a common understanding around the things that we want to achieve.